Today I'm going to show you how I swapped out my fall bucket list sign for a Merry Christmas sign in just a couple of minutes. Keep watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove my old chalk paste, and I do that just by spraying some water on it. This is just a metal sign with a wood frame that I got at our Hobby Lobby, so I am just going to remove that chalk paste that I put on it. And while the chalk paste softens, I am going to make my stencil. So I'm using my 12 by 18 stencil film today, and I just place it on a flat surface, lay my artwork on top, and smooth it over. I just like to rub it down to make sure there's no air bubbles and that there's a good seal between the film and the artwork. Add my cover sheet, and then I'm just going to expose the film for 1 minute and 40 seconds. And after that 1 minute 40 seconds is up, I turn off my film and wash it out right away. So I just take it to my sink, and I like to use a combination of our trigger jet nozzle and a water pick. The water pick has a nice focused spray, so I use that, and then I also use our trigger jet as well to just kind of soften the emulsion. So it takes me about 3 minutes to wash out a 12 by 18 stencil. And after that, I'll just lay it somewhere flat to dry, and it usually takes 45 minutes depending on your humidity in your room. So I'll just let that dry while I continue with the rest of my sign and taking off the chalk paste. So I'm just using my gray stir stick as a scraper, and this comes with our chalk paste. And I'm just going to scrape all of the chalk paste off, and then use a paper towel to finish the job. All right, now that my sign is all clean, I can add my new Christmas stencil. So for this sign, I'm going to be using our 12 by 18 stencil film, and I'm using blue because it works best on metal. Purple's a little bit too sticky for metal. So I am going to use the blue, and I wanted the word Christmas to fill up the whole space and be 14 inches wide. So I used our bigger film, and then I'll just add in the extra 2 stencils afterwards. So I'm going to do this as a multicolor stencil. So I'll just cut these apart. So I'm just going to remove the back of my stencil and place this where I want it. I'm going to try to center it as best as possible. All right, that looks good. So for Christmas, I'm going to use my red. So for the red chalk paste, I just mixed together red acrylic paint, this is Anita's brand, and some Coco's chalky powder to make my own. And you can mix as much powder in as you want to get the consistency you want. So I like this kind of really thick consistency myself. So with chalk paste, I like to work really fast so that the paste doesn't dry in the mesh openings. So I'm just going to add chalk paste all over my stencil, and then I'm going to use a squeegee and pull the paint across. So I just make sure I cover all the openings, and then I go over it at the end to get off all the excess so I don't have lines. And then I lift my stencil. So I'm going to go wash out my red stencil before proceeding. So before adding your next color or stencil, you do want to make sure that your first one is completely dry. Like I said, it does dry pretty quick, but it's going to matter on your surface and what paint or paste you're using. So just make sure your first layer is completely dry before adding in your second layer. And for the black, I'm going to use our Tucker Trade Company Jet Black, which we have available on our website now. And I'll just repeat the same process as the red. As you can see, their chalk pastes are super creamy. They work so good with our stencils. Just love these chalk pastes. just wipe the excess off and put it back in the jar, and I can still use that. So you really barely use any on your actual project. And then I'm also going to do the family name in black as well. So the great thing about this design is you could reuse the Merry Christmas stencils as many times as you want if you wanted to make a bunch of these signs for family members. And then you could just make an individual family name sign or a smaller family name sign while still reusing the bigger stencils. Or if you're making this sign for yourself, then you can just keep all the stencils. After Christmas is over, you can wipe off this design since the chalk paste is removable. And then next Christmas, you'll have these stencils already made, so you can just make the sign again if you want. The more you use the stencils, the more you practice with different paints and pastes, you'll get a feel for what kind of pressure to use with your squeegee and how much paint to apply, what kind of look you're going for, and all that. So. And that's that, a super easy Christmas sign.